Hey everyone, this is Angie Lee with another Tech Tuesday. Today I'm sharing with you 6 practical next steps that you can take if you are in your internship search or job search. So there's a wealth of information online really, and it can be overwhelming to decide what you want to do next. Now if you're in the tech field, I've found that this is something that these next 6 are practical baby steps that you can take alongside completing other courses or online boot camps that you might be pursuing. So the first one is to sign up for an interview prep course on lynda.com. So the things that you can do here are, number one, you can access Lynda for free on most public library sites. If you go to your website for your public library and you already have a library card access, then you can go to the online resources and access their unique URL for lynda.com that will allow you to access the same library as you would as a paying member. So that's one thing that you can take advantage of as a tax-paying member of society. So then the next one is to take their job prep course on lynda.com. There's a lot of ones that you can take. There's some specific to designers, and on the flip side, I found a lot of value in taking the classes for HR folks, for human resources, people who are hiring a UX designer or a product designer, and then understanding what questions that a project manager might ask. So I was able to kind of flip through the different topics on both ends to understand and round out my understanding for the process. So the second step that you want to do in this series of smaller steps towards finding a job is to complete a project. Now, it doesn't have to be a big to-do. It could be a text adventure game. It can be a small program contained within an IDE. But if you can compile that code and put it somewhere on GitHub or through a Dropbox link, or even render it on a website so that you can show people in an app, if they pull that up on Safari, for instance, completing a project is going to take you so much further than it would if you say, yeah, I finished many tracks on HTML and front-end web development on Codecademy, but you don't have anything to show for it. So it's almost as if you didn't do anything, and there's no value unless you can prove it in a project. So following those steps, step-by-step tasks and directions in a class can still produce more positive results than taking a few tracks and not having to show for it. That being said, it's always going to be even better if you can take your knowledge and your learnings and customize it. Customize the layout, customize the flow, customize the buttons. And once you get that, I'd say get the main framework from the lesson that you're taking, wherever it may be, and then just go from there. So the next one, just complete a project, get it out of the way. It can take up to 15 hours, but if you knock it out in a matter of 3 days, a few hours on the week, and your weekend, you give up that, and then you're ready to go for these next steps. The next thing that I recommend for you to do is to search for unpaid internships. If you're at the very base level and don't feel confident in your skills, but you want to wait and wait and wait to get those projects and build your portfolio, I'd say suck it up and find an unpaid internship, because there's no better learning than you can get than being on the job and working on a project. So get that first project out of the way and say, hey, I have the knowledge to do this. I'm ready to work. I'm willing to do this for pro bono. And then you can write it off in your taxes, and the nonprofit organization may be able to provide you some compensation that they can also write off. So considering those options there, look at sites like Freelancers Union and understand what the best setup for you and the nonprofit client would be. But make sure that you do everything properly, as make sure to bill them, and then you can subtract the complete cost and say that this is a legal document that says that you transferred your knowledge and were able to provide a service free of cost. So that's it. You just need to go ahead and get it out of the way, and then you'll learn and see if this is something you actually want to do, or what direction in development that you'd like to pursue. Alright, my next tip is to just do interviews. These have to be, I'd recommend for them to be low risk. They don't have to be the exact match for you, but practicing the skills and negotiating and interviewing the the company to see if they're a good fit for you, and understanding what the team environment is like is going to help increase your capability and efficacy in being able to interview for jobs that you actually care about. So I'm not saying that this may not end up being a good fit, but choose the companies that are at the bottom of your list and start there and start pushing out interviews, or at least putting yourself out there. What is it that you can learn from how you made your cover letter, how you wrote that cold email that can make improvements along the way? So just start doing it. My first job out of college, I interviewed for over 60 companies and had to really push them out. So I didn't know how else to put it. It's like cyclical, so you just have to keep going and trying and learn as you go. To piggyback off of my earlier point of just completing a project, there have been concerns and questions that I hear all the time when there are applicants and prospective employees wondering what languages are more important in the field and what should I study first that's going to build upon another. I'd say that if one of the main things that you want to do is finding a job, then start looking at the job opportunities in your area, or where you want to be. Currently I'm in Nashville, but if I wanted to relocate to Seattle, Washington, then I would look at the job descriptions for those places, and instead of looking at the match for me being let's say that I have no experience, then I would look at what they require and what keywords, what languages, and what tools are really popping up. And then looking at those keywords, that's what you can build into your resume. You can add it to your the SEO of your website portfolio, add those keywords and those tasks to your LinkedIn skills, and then start asking people in your network to what are they called? Plus, like just endorsing you for those skills on LinkedIn. And then you can complete the courses through Lynda that will show badges on your LinkedIn account. All boiling down to the fact that larger companies, those HR folks, can't spend time looking at every single resume. Maybe if it's a smaller company and they are taking a lot of care through each applicant. But for the most part, someone with very little experience is just going to be really fast, and you want to fly through at least the first yes-no stack in a positive way. All right, so the final one that kind of just brings it all together is to study and continue taking online classes. So there's online classes that I've talked about for job interviews and for those particular keyword-related projects, but continuing to learn and to be able to prove that through more up-to-date languages. Say if you were studying emerging technologies, just watching a few videos, reading up on those things, reading Wired articles, and be active online in the online communities. Say there's a Twitter hashtag talking about a new release, will show that you're passionate about technology and you're passionate about the related topics in that industry. So just continuing to study and looking up at those topics and the news bits that are relevant to your field. Okay, so those are 6 things. Follow this checklist and I assure you you'll feel more confident looking into applying for your first job or an internship. And that's all I have for today. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have in the comments down below. As always, I will see you next week on the next Tech Tuesday. Bye!